Well, hello and welcome. This is Prasanjit Gupta. Welcome to the show, the PG Show. Well, today we have got a very special guest who is a very fine and very experienced trainer. He is the guy who is giving the training to the corporate world, to entrepreneurs and to small business owners. He is the guy behind the success of multiple small businesses. Yes, please welcome Mr. Pashupati Kundu.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prasanjit Gupta. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to come here today and be on your show. Your show is already quite popular, so it's a good feeling to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Kundu, for giving praise to our show. We have just started, and we are just trying to add some values in the society because you understand that in India there are many trainers, but the thing is that people are unaware about the training industry. They are really unaware about how much a trainer is important for the growth of their business. So that is why I have started the show. Through which I can help the business people. I can help multiple people. So that they can understand how to boost their business, how to change the life, each and everything. So, welcome you again, Mr. Kundu. Welcome to our show. So, we are just gonna start our show, and I welcome you again. All right, Kundu, before we get started and before we jump into the ocean of questions for you today, we would love to know about your experience, about your journey, that how you started your journey. In which year you started your journey as a coach?
Okay, so that was the year 2016. Prior to that, I've been working in big multinational companies where there were about 50,000 people working in one company. Those kind of companies. So there, in those companies, I was there for about 20 years, and then I left my corporate job and then started the coaching in 2016. So for last 5 years, I've been in this coaching and consulting corporate business owners and business leaders.
Oh wow, amazing! That's amazing. So, what exactly you thought about, becoming a coach? Because you were working in such a big company, you were having a good lifestyle and all. So, what exactly you think about to convert yourself into a coach?
Okay. So first, of course, it was the entrepreneurial bug. Though I was working for 20 years, but still I was working for someone else. So I wanted to do something on my own. That was the biggest motivation. And secondly, when I was working in these companies, big companies, I also got experience to a lot of training and consulting from external sources. So I realized that the training world in India primarily is geared towards corporates. Like everybody wants to train and coach a corporate, but very few people are there in the SME sector. But there is a big opportunity there because in India, the SMEs are the backbone of the economy. There are 6 crore SME registrations in India. So actually, the SMEs drive the Indian economy, but there were very few trainers focusing on those businessmen, business owners. So I found a good opportunity here and good requirement for my skills in the industry. That is how I became a coach for the SME sector, and I'm really happy about it with the progress that I've made.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. That's really amazing that you shared your journey with us. Now, we would love to ask you multiple questions because like today's episode is the vision of calling you as a guest in our studio is to help the entrepreneurs, the small business people, how in this time of quarantine, or how like after this session also, after the the quarantine also, how your knowledge, your wisdom can help the business people to boost their energy, to boost their business. Sorry. So first of all, my first question is that why you call yourself as an action coach? Because see, there are multiple coaches, right? I have heard health coach, this and that, blah blah blah. But there's something very new. So why you call yourself as an action coach?
Right. So the service which I provide is that of business coaching and consulting, which means that I enhance the business, I grow the business for my clients. So Action Coach is a brand with which I'm associated. Action Coach is a global brand. It is based out of US and it is there in 80 countries. So I've taken I've been trained and certified by Action Coach. That is how, and there are about 1,000 coaches across the world. So that is how we call ourselves Action Coach. It's a brand which is quite popular across the world. And the service that I provide is of business coaching and consulting.
Wow, that's great. It was really new information for me that there's already an organization called the Action Coach, and there are many members in it, right? So
Oh,
every member who are there in the Action Coach membership community, they are all Action Coach.
yeah, they have all been trained and certified by the Action Coach organization. So it's been there for the last 26 years.
Wow, 26 years. Okay. So just tell me one thing. What is the basic difference being an action coach and being a corporate trainer or something, the coach of different things and all?
So, being an action coach has certain advantages. One is that there are about 1,000 coaches across the world.
Okay.
And all the coaches are coaching. So, on an average, we coach more than 15,000 businesses every week,
Every
right? All the
week.
coaches together.
Okay.
So, and across various industries, like it can be retail, it can be manufacturing, it can be service sector. So, across industries, the coaches are coaching. So there's a huge knowledge pool among the Action Coach members. So whenever there is any issue or anywhere we get stuck, we always throw that question back to our community, the Action Coach community, and and certainly and definitely the practical and implementable answers come in a jiffy. So that is the advantage of the Action Coach, that we have been there for 26 years. The tools and techniques have been verified. They have been tested in the ground, and the results have come from there. So the methodology that we follow is all tried and tested, and that is how we assure results for our client.
Wow, wow, that's really great. I mean, the community is helping every coach over there to grow and like to teach on the regular basis and to connect with the business people, business tycoons or business industry and all.
Right,
Right,
absolutely.
great. Okay. Just tell me one thing, like what kind of trainings you give normally to the business people?
Yeah, so see, we say that business has seven aspects. There are any business, whether you take my business or yours or any manufacturing or whatever you take, there are seven aspects to it, or seven functions, I would say, which are sales, marketing, finance, HR, operations, leadership, and innovation. So, as a business coach, I take care of all the functions in a business. So, I look at their sales machine, whether the sales machine is there, what is the sales strategy being adopted by the company, what is the marketing philosophy, what are the marketing inputs the company is giving to their field force, how the finance is operating, what are the current assets and current liabilities, and all the other financial data. So, and then in HR and operations is very important to give consistent consumer experience. So I look at the business from all these angles and then prioritize what are the requirements of that business at that particular time. And then we work on a 90-day plan with the business owners. That is how we go through. Yeah. Yeah, of course, being a trainer and a coach requires a lot of updation yourself, because the environment is so changing fast these days. It is transient, so we need to be updated ourselves, and that's why I read a lot. I go through business articles, business news, mostly on my laptop. I don't see much on TV, but on online, I see I'm updated on the news all the time, business news. And then there are a lot of articles, there are podcasts, there's my strong action coach community. A lot of information comes there. So in these days, during this pandemic, every day there has been some input in the community, how to handle businesses, how to prepare yourselves. So this is how I keep updated. And of course, another thing I keep updated is on the technology, the technological improvements that are happening in the business, because that is very important these days.
Okay. So, are you facing any problem basically these days in this quarantine time?
Uh, Initially, of course, before the pandemic situation, all my coaching and consulting used to be on site, face to face with the clients.
Mm-hmm.
That has stopped now, but the work has not stopped to that extent,
Okay.
because that physical activity has now moved to online. So the online sessions are going on. Of
Okay.
course, the some of the clients, their businesses have got impacted hugely. Some of them have also shut down for the time being.
Okay.
So in this period, whenever where the businesses are shut down, we are taking this period as a period to re-energize, retrain, complete the finish the pending work, of the business. In any business, there are a lot of pending work. So we got a very good chance, good opportunity to complete those tasks. So it depends on business to business. So as per the business, we are customizing um, the activity at the current moment.
Okay. So, like as you said, it depends on business to business. So, how normally you choose your client? What category, like before choosing a client or before assigning a client of giving a training, what exactly
Mm.
you see in the client? What kind of strategy you follow?
Yeah, so first thing that I look at, and all the action coaches will also look at, is the mindset of the owner, how hungry he is for growth, how hungry he is for his success. What are the motivations that are driving him to reach that particular level where he wants to go, and where is he today? So how big is the gap between where he wants to reach and where is he today? Because that will determine the hunger in him, that will determine the seriousness in him. Because this is a very, I would say, not a easy journey that I take with him. It's a very serious journey and a lot of inputs he has to also give in his business. Of course, as a coach, I will be there in to handhold him, but on his own, he has to also put in a lot of effort. So that seriousness is one. I definitely look into it. And secondly, the scale of the business is also one, because that is important. The content which we have in Action Coach, that is applicable, or that is more beneficial for a business which has been there for some time and has a, I would say, turnover anything above upwards of 50 crores, or employing about 20 people. So these are some of the filters which I use to choose my client, but primarily it is the mindset.
Okay. Suppose one client, suppose they assigned you. Suppose like they are taking your service and all. So normally, what is the duration of and what kind of I will just bifurcate it. A, that what is the first move?
Mhm.
What exactly you
Okay.
do first? Suppose some client assigned you for your service, then what is the first
Mm.
move? What do you exactly do?
So the first thing I do is, there is something called business diagnosis, because I'm moving into the business for the first time, and it's a good thing that I don't know about the business, because I can then take an impartial view of the business. Because this is a question which comes up many times, that you are not from this industry, so how will you guide us? Because I may have experience of two, three industries, but not all. But I coach clients from retail. I coach pharma, retail. I coach electronic security. I coach even chartered accountants. So that's a good thing that I'm not from those industries, because I can give a outsider's perspective to that industry. So the starting point is I do a business diagnosis, and then with a set of tools which I use from the Action Coach toolbox, and basis the diagnosis, then we come up with a priority for the business at that moment, and that priority is then divided into quarterly targets, and then we work on 90 days. For example, if we want to set a 3-year plan, so first we set a 3-year plan, and then bring it down to first year. Those that 3-year plan, what should we do in the first year so that we achieve the 3-year plan. So, and then that first year plan is then further broken down into quarters, and then we go on executing that 90-day plan.
Now, what is your USP, Mr. Kundu?
See, of course, that is also one point which I coach on my clients, that having a USP is very important, because otherwise, without USP, one will always be competing on price, which is not a good thing for any business. So, I would say that my USP is my background, the corporate background, where I worked with large companies for 20 years. So I'm aware of the systems and process that goes in those companies, because ultimately it's the systems that drive the business with the help of the people. So it is very important to have good systems as well as good people in the organization. So that is one USP. And the second USP which I have compared to other coaches, I would say, is handholding of the execution. Because today knowledge is available everywhere. It is available on Google, online, everywhere. But the implementation of the knowledge as per the implementation of the knowledge as per the business, that is more important, right? So So that is where I come in, and that is where I bring my differentiation, that I handhold the execution. So if there is any fine tuning of the strategies to be done midway, that I do along with the business owner. And third, which is the most important one, is there is a money back guarantee also, that if the results don't come for the business owner, then my coaching is free. I don't charge.
Oh wow, that's amazing. This is a very new one. That's a fantastic one. Okay, just tell me one thing, like what kind of industry you coach? Because when we talk about the businesses, there are lots and lots, huge and huge businesses are there, right? Different kind of businesses are there, from grocery shop to garment shop. You just name it. There are lots of and different kinds of businesses. So what exactly your niche? What kind of business people are your client?
So in the past 5 years, I've coached all kinds of industries, right from manufacturing to trading to service sector. In manufacturing, it can be garments, garments manufacturing. It can be printing press was one. Then in retail, it was there has been pharma retail. There has been sanitary ware and bathroom fittings retail. In service, there has been interior designers, chartered accountants. So all kinds of industries. Primarily, it's my forte is manufacturing and those who are in trading. So distribution and wholesale. So manufacturing and distribution are my two, you can say, major clients come from these two sectors.
Okay. So in the manufacturing, basically you do the boosting of the sales of the clients, right? Of the business people. Okay.
Sales is one part of it. Then, as I said, the business has seven angles, which is sales. I'll repeat again: sales, marketing, finance, HR, operations, leadership, and innovation. So, so manufacturing, a lot of effort or a lot of my time goes in fine tuning the operations. Right
Okay.
from the sourcing of the raw material to the finished goods, and then after sales service, the current assets management. Those things take much of my
So
time.
basically there are 4 5 categories. Basically, you take care of each and everything of a business, right? You take care of all the pillars basically of a business person.
Yeah, because many a time all of us think that sales is the only way to grow profit,
Yeah,
right? But
basically.
it may not. Yeah, but it may not. It is not the only way. There are other ways to grow profit, keeping sales constant. So even if sales doesn't grow, especially during this time, it will be difficult to grow your sales. But there are ways you can still, either have that same profit as you had before the pandemic, or even make more money, keeping sales constant. So there are some areas where I need to take care of for my client, where keeping even sales constant, the profit moves up.
Okay, okay. So now just tell me one thing. First of all, I would love to ask, what is your vision?
Yeah. So as I said, the SME sector is the backbone of the Indian economy. There are 6 crore SME registrations.
Okay.
So my mission in now for the next 20 years, whenever I stop working, so for the next 20 years would be at least to have a successful entrepreneur in every family. That is my vision. Because as you know, and I'm very happy to see that even now in this generation, even the students are willing to become entrepreneurs. During our time when we used to be students,
Mhm.
very few students would want to start a business of his own. He would want a good job in a big company, which I also did on my own. So but now I'm seeing the trend, a positive trend, that students also want to become entrepreneurs. So it's a good time in India to become entrepreneurs and self-employed people. And I would really like to contribute to their being successful.
Okay. So just tell me one thing. In the process, the personal development of the employees is also included in your package or in your style of coaching?
Yeah, definitely, because unless there is personal development, the business will not grow. Because as we say, as somebody said, I think it was Jim Rohn who said, a business grows to the level of his owner, right? The business grows to the level of its owner. So if the business has to grow, the the qualitative aspect of the owner also has to grow.
Okay.
So we also take care that the owner also grows himself. He also gets educated. He gets imbibed with all the information, all the knowledge. His personal capacity also improves. So that is where the importance of growing the level of the owner is also important.
Okay.
And of course, in Action Coach, we take care of that.
Okay. So what exactly you include in the personal development section? Just name four, five, so it will be easy for the people who are watching right now. They can understand exactly how they can benefit from your coaching or from this knowledge of ours.
So definitely one is, again, I would say the mindset, because that is most important. Most of the sometimes when I interact with the business owners, there is that feeling of inferiority, that how I will compete with the big corporates, right? So there is one, that is one area where I coach the business owners, that okay, the corporates, they are big, but they have their own bottlenecks also. So as business owners, as small and medium business owners, it is a there are many opportunities. There are big opportunities, because I have worked in corporate for 20 years. I know where the gaps are. So there's a huge opportunity for any business owner to fill that gap. So that mindset has to be changed first.
Okay.
And then, of course, the skills have to be the management skills, the business skills, how to recruit, for example, how to recruit a good team. That is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Because in business, we call it the TTM challenge:
TTM,
time, team, and money,
TTM
right?
challenge, you said, right?
TTM.
ETM, all right.
TTM,
TTM, okay.
yeah, time, team, and money,
Time, team, and
right?
money, okay.
So, yeah. So money is, of course, from the business, the profits and the sales from the business. So there we help him do the strategy, implement the strategy, which will grow his business and bring him more profit. And the team, team is very important. As the business grows, one cannot do everything himself. So it is very important to hire a team, good team. And sometimes the owners see team as a cost, but I would suggest them to think of team as an investment, right? A good investment in good team is definitely worth the money being put in there. And of course, there's a time, like with the you can say the implementation of good systems and process in the business, the time of the owner gets freed up. Ultimately, what happens is he leads to a that leads to a better quality of life for him, because it reduces his stress, it reduces his business. He can give more time to his family or his friends or start new hobbies. So this is how we contribute to improving the lifestyle of the owners also.
Okay. And while choosing a client, is there any business size you see in terms of turnover or in terms of team member? How you choose means how you decide that this client will be needing your coaching system?
Yeah, minimum team size is advisable, preferable. Let's say somebody who's employing more than 20 people in his business, that would be a fine point to start with. And someone who is already at a 50 crores annual turnover revenue level, I think these two filters are good enough in terms of numbers, because as you know, the language of business is numbers. So it's good to look at these numbers before starting.
Okay. Recently, what kind of problem you have solved for your clients? Because in this business, you will see the ups and downs are coming on the regular days, right? So what kind of
Yeah.
recent problem which was really a huge one, the big one, and you gave the solution, you trained them, and that works out miraculously well. So what was it?
So I'll give you a couple of examples which are different from each other. So one was from the finance point of view, the current assets and the current liabilities point of view. There was huge inventory. So there is a way to calculate the inventory, which we call DSI, daily sales inventory, right? So how much inventory in terms of sales is blocked, whether
Okay.
it is in raw material or finished product or WIP. So one of the ways to unblock your capital, unblock your working capital, is to go on with fine tuning your inventory levels. So when I started with the organization, their inventory level was 655 days.
Okay.
So now we have been able to bring it down to about 95 days. So that was a huge improvement in their working capital requirement.
Hmm.
The benefit of that was the interest which the company paid to the bank reduced a lot. As you can see, many big corporates are today also doing the same. They're reducing the debt. Even the big corporates are doing. So why not for the small business owners, small and medium business owners? So that is where I help there. And second is, of course, in sales expansion. One of my clients wanted to expand. He's in retail, and he wanted to expand his retail network all over the country and introduce his own brand as well. So I helped introduce his brand, and then we signed up many franchise stores for him. Of course, it has taken a break because of the pandemic, but once this is over, again the ball will start rolling for him in terms of signing up new franchise.
Okay, okay. Uh, okay. The thing is that, see, the time is, you can see the now the time is hard for the business people, and the coming time is also unpredictable, right? So, what kind of message you wanna give to the small business people who are into the traditional business and all, and like they are really in stress. So, what is the message to those people?
See, of course, there are quite a few I want to discuss now, but the top five or six I'll be emphasizing upon. So one is, of course, the acceptance that the way to do business will change, right? What we did before, maybe those things will not be valid anymore. So there'll be new way of doing things. So one is to keep always being open-minded, always be ready for new things, new ways of doing business, new opportunities. That is one. And second is, of course, use technology to a large extent, because this is where I see a very big gap in the businesses that I coach. So use technology to automate and drive efficiency of your team, drive efficiency of your capital, drive efficiency of your sales system or marketing system. Use technology to allow. Third, uh, again, I would come to team, that hire a good team, develop a good recruitment system. If required, hire a good HR consultant,
Mm-hmm.
and see to it that your HR system is in place. Because a good team will drive efficiency. If, for example, if there are 20 people doing one particular job,
Mm-hmm.
if you hire a good team, probably you can end up with only 10 or 12 people doing the same job with the help of technology and you good team. So third point would be a good team. And fourth, from sales and marketing point of view, I would suggest them to start focusing on building customer loyalty,
Okay.
because that is very important in today's times where maybe new customers would be difficult to come in. So it is important to focus on existing clients and build up that customer loyalty.
So
So
how
do
so
anything, do all
So
activities
how to
towards
build up the
building.
customer loyalty? Basically, because you also see that there are lots of businesses in the same category, right? And the client are moving towards basically the offers. The company who is giving better offer with the better services, the client is moving towards that company, right? So, what is your suggestion or advice towards the company how to maintain the loyalty?
Yeah, the best way, of course, is to develop a uniqueness, a USP. Like you asked me, my USP. Again, I would suggest all business owners to develop their own USP.
Okay,
So USP can be developed in many things. It can be in terms of products which are not available with the competition.
okay.
It can be in service levels, response time, right? It can be in consistency of delivery. Like, for example, if I order 100, the vendor will give me 100 today, and even if I order even maybe 1 month later 100, still he gives me 100 also. That is also one kind of consistent service. So loyalty is also based, and also, so there are these 3 points, and there are many other points too. So the major focus should be on developing USP so that you are not able to compete. Others are not able to compete.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about the technology and all, because like you just mentioned that it is really very hard for many of the company that they are not technically sound, right? So they are having problem in these days. So what do you think? What kind of problem they will face in the future?
Yeah, so if they don't have technology in the business, but the first thing is around their sales and marketing functions. It is very important to imbibe technology there, which means that are they doing business on the basis of data? Do they have data of their customers? Especially whether it's retail or whether it's B2C or B2B. In both cases, now data has become very important. As it's said, data is the new oil. So unless you have data, you cannot analyze your business and do business on the basis of information. So whether do you have an ERP in your business? You need not have a very complicated software, but a simple even Excel to start with is good enough. The point is that do you have something where you can track your customers? Do you have the data so that you can devise your marketing strategy? Today, the online marketing strategies are much more efficient in
Mm-hmm.
terms of cost and the right reach. So do you have that customer database to start a online campaign, online strategy? So, and you should take help of technology to manage all this data. rather than keeping in bits and pieces.
Yeah, so that is why, see, I've also seen, like that in India, majority of the entrepreneurs, they don't have their website, they don't have any presence online, right? So that is why I have also taken a mission of helping 100,000 entrepreneurs to take their business online. So over there in my coaching, like I am teaching those people how to develop their own virtual office. And like
Right.
the entrepreneurs, they don't have to have any technical knowledge, or they don't have to pay a bomb to any agency. Also, they can make their own, their own virtual office in just 5 to 7 days, where I teach them, step by step how they can do it, or do all these things, because I have understood, that this is the big gap. If somebody has got an online office, right, he or she can sell their product around the world or any part of the country, right? But because of having a traditional business, which are in any of the area, right, so they are having their own circle of clientage. So
Yeah.
according to you, like in the see, watching the time also. So according to you, what is the biggest challenge the small business owners are having when you are coaching these people? So definitely you are coming up with their problems. You are facing their problems, and you are coming up with the solution of those people, right? So what is the
Mhm.
like three biggest challenge these entrepreneur or SMEs are facing right now?
Okay, so the number one now I would say is the resource crunch. The resource crunch means there's a cash flow issue, right? In the current situation, I would say there'll be a cash flow issue. So, like I said before, there are ways to improve your profit without increasing your sales. So, I would suggest them to look at their expense sheet with a big lens, big lens, and look at the costs, whether it's a fixed cost or variable cost or cogs of goods sold. There are three kinds of costs. So look at all the cost with a big lens and see where it can be impacted positively, which means where it can be reduced, right? So that is very big one. So look at cash flow, and whenever you are selling to any of your customer, try to sell on cash. Even if you have to take a lower margin, that is fine, but don't expose yourself to a large extent. Give more and more on cash. Even I was seeing in the newspapers also that many of the suppliers and the companies, they have resorted to cash and carry model, which means that you pay and take your good. Because for the next 3 to 6 months, we have to be very short term oriented in our approach. This is not a time to implement big strategies. We have to be very careful and live from month to month. So the first thing is that our cash flow should be in positive shape, because if it goes beyond zero or if it goes negative, then the all the problems will start coming in, right? So focus on the cash flow. Focus on, I would say again, repeat, focus on reducing technology, which will automate the business. Because wherever you want, you can please automate the business back, because that will reduce your cost, that will increase your efficiency. And again, third, I will say is focus on your existing clients. So these are the three: cash flow, automation, and existing clients. These are the three I would say. Establish a rapport, establish good, better rapport, better relationships, new alliances. These are some of the few things which I'll suggest in this pandemic situation.
Okay. What kind of plan a business owner should make to boost their sale? And what kind of plan you
Mhm.
help to make the plan?
Okay, so once they take care of these three things which I just mentioned, in Action Coach we say there are 5 levers to grow a business,
Okay.
right?
What are those?
I can share the link maybe. So there are 5 levers to grow the business,
Okay.
which are so for any business owners, it is very important to track these 5 levers,
Okay.
right? So the number one lever is number of leads generated. It
Lead
can
generated.
be new
Okay.
customers or existing customers.
Okay.
Second second lever is the number of conversion from those leads. So the third lever is the average ticket price, average billing price. The fourth is the number of fourth lever is frequency, the number of times a customer comes back to you.
Okay.
Because as it is 7 times more expensive to get a new customer than service an existing customer. So in this time, it is very, very important to cater to existing clients. So the fourth lever focuses on that.
Okay.
And the fifth lever is your margin of the business. Look at the products which give better margin. Try to devise ways to sell the products which have higher margin,
Okay.
right? Which can be by training your team appropriately, by giving better deals on those high margin products, by combining those high margin products with fast moving ones. So these are some of the ways where you can focus on improving the gross margin. So the five levers of Action Coach, they have been very popular. They have worked all across the world for millions of businesses, for the last 26 years.
Okay.
So I would suggest everyone to implement these five levers in their business. To begin with, start measuring the five levers. And as the Japanese say, the concept of Kaizen. Kaizen means doing small improvement every day,
Okay.
right? As you know that uh, 1 to the power of 1 is 1, or 1 to the power of n is 1, but 1.01 to the power of n is a huge number, right?
Okay.
So small improvement every day will lead to massive change in business.
Okay. So these five levers are like five steps, right? Like towards the growth of a business or towards the growth of a company, right?
Yeah.
So there are lots of
And the best Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Please
And the
say.
best part is these five levers can be applied in any business. No business has a sixth lever. Every business in the world operates within these five levers only.
Okay, whether it's
So
a
that's
small business, entrepreneurs or the like the big corporates and all, any kind of business,
yeah.
they have to apply these five systems, these five levers you said, right? Okay, okay, that was really useful one. Okay, now just tell me one thing for an example. Suppose there is a business owner who owns a garment shop, a big garment shop. Okay, now how can he benefited from your coaching?
See, first of all, garments is a very big sector. It is impossible for any garment manufacturer or trader to cater to all kinds of needs, right? So first of all, I would help him to define his segment, his customer segment, right?
Okay,
And if he has already defined that, I will again try to bring it to a point where his efficiency is more, like
okay,
it's very crisply defined the segment. That is one. And secondly, I also understand his hunger. Again, as I said, the mindset, the hunger, where he wants to go. If today he's at X and he wants to move on to 10X,
hmm,
what is the seriousness behind it? What is the motivation behind it? By understanding that motivation, that seriousness, I'll be able to formulate some strategies with him.
okay,
In our coaching, the best thing is, means I'm not imposing anything on the owner. It is all discussed mutually, agreed upon mutually, because unless the other party also buys in, it is very difficult to implement. So the strategy will come in the session with the discussion by the with our mutual discussion. The strategy will come up, so it can be in terms of fine tuning your stock. Like I said, there was one client where there were 655 days of inventory. We reduced to 95 days. So this is another typical problem I've seen with any garment business, that their inventory levels are very high.
okay,
The working capital gets blocked in that. So these are some of the low hanging things which I will start with, and then go on to bigger things like sales expansion, maybe store expansion, and store. There's something called sales per store. So whether that is growing or not. So there'll be 50 things to do in a garment shop
okay,
or a garment
okay.
business.
Do you recommend any business people should read books and all? And if you recommend they should read books, what kind of books they should read?
They should read. Of course, books are also important, but the business articles are more relevant.
Okay,
Because one is that some of those who don't like to read, for them I would suggest the articles, because the articles are very short,
okay,
they are crisp to the point, and they are topical, which means they deal with the current scenario,
okay,
right? And in terms of books, of course, there are so many business books available in the market. In Action Coach, the founder of Action Coach is a gentleman called Brad Sugars.
okay.
So Brad Sugars has written 28 books till now
Oh wow,
on various subjects. Okay, so
subjects
I
and all.
would
Okay,
recommend everyone to read Brad Sugars books.
okay,
So there's a book called Instant Sales, Instant Revenue, Instant Cash Flow.
okay.
So these kind of books are there.
Wow,
So these are
definitely.
book,
Like, I
and
would request you to share the names so that I can put the links of those books. Those are available in the Amazon.
yeah, they are available.
Wow, that's fantastic. So what I will do, I will choose those books and I will put the link in our chat box so people can from to click and they can read the book. They can purchase the book from wherever they want. So it was really lovely, Mr. Kundu, to have you in our show, and like we really had, like a very brief discussion over the business strategies, how to build up the sales. So before before closing the show, we would love to know two three questions of your personal. What kind of book you read?
I read a lot of books. The current book I'm reading is The Master Key System.
The Master Key System. Who's the author of this?
This is a gentleman called Charles Hannell.
Okay, and what?
It is a book on law of attraction.
Oh
Actually.
wow. Okay, okay. So you believe in law of attraction?
Yeah, definitely, and it has worked for me. So
Wow, that's amazing.
you know,
That's really good news
so
because
so it's not that I only read business books. I read books outside the business
okay.
domain also. So this is one of them. And I read a lot of sports biographies because I like sportsmen a lot. Uh, so those kind of books I read a lot, biographies.
Wow, that's great. That's really great. Thank you so much, Mr. Pashupati Kundu, for giving your valuable time in our show, the PG show, and sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge about the business growth, about how to boost the sales in a business and all. So there are lots of things which we have discussed today. So thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prasanjit Gupta. Thank you for inviting me here to the show. I wish all the best for your show. Let it be more popular, and more importantly, let your viewers be impacted positively with your show, with the inputs that you give in your show. Wonderful job you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Mr. Kundu. So, guys, this was Mr. Pashupati Kundu, an action coach. He is really doing an awesome job. He's really doing an amazing job. He's helping the business people, the small SMEs to, like to boost their business by multiple things. He's not only helping in the sales, he's helping in personality development, and he's lot more things. So, if you really have any question, you can put your question down below in the comment box. Definitely, I will call Mr. Kundu again in our studio, in our show, to answer all those questions. Till the time, subscribe the channel, hit the bell button, and definitely like the show, because if you want to attend my every interview, every show, then do not forget to subscribe the show. Thank you so much, guys, for coming up. Hello.